Recently, we've seen the rise of many young prodigy cubers in China. It all started when this cuber, Ray Hangshu, came out of nowhere and seemed to be getting world-class results in competition. Before this, he was quietly getting sub-10 averages at just 10 years old, and most people outside of China knew nothing about him. Yes, there had been prodigies before, but nothing like this. Before this, the main Cuban prodigies that were known were Chan Hon-lik and Leo Borromeo. Chan Hon-lik was a 7-year-old solver from Brazil who was averaging 10 seconds, and Chan Hon-lik went viral for solving a 3x3 in 8.76 seconds in competition, as well as solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Leo Borromeo from the Philippines was also 7 years old when he gained popularity, but faster, averaging sub 10. In fact, Leo actually gained even more popularity after winning the Cebu Open 2017 and breaking the NR single in the competition right after, with an incredible time of 5.96 seconds. But Ray Hangshu was different, because when the world found out about him, he was 12 years old and already getting world class times. So let me tell you how this happened. So as far as I'm aware, the first time most of the world was able to find out about Ray Hangshu was through a post in Cubic's Friends Facebook group when someone posted that he got a 5.57 seconds in this unofficial monthly competition. The post also included that he supposedly boasted a 5.7 average of 100 at home, and people in the Facebook group were immediately shocked to see him solve, impressed by his fast speed. People began to wonder, how did this kid get so fast out of nowhere? And it wasn't long before his competition results started to show. He first broke the Chinese NR with an average time of 6.21 seconds, then broke the Asian record with an average of 5.69 seconds, and eventually he was able to break the world record average with an incredible time of 5.48 seconds. And with this, the world was on watch for him as they knew he was really good. And due to this success, the Cuban manufacturer GAN decided to sponsor him. And as this was happening, people noticed that GAN did something interesting. They didn't just sign Ray Hangshu, but they signed him to this team called Speed Ace, which is a team of fast cubers under 12 years old. And the team was full of young Chinese cubers, and people began to research these young Chinese cubers to find out that they were also kid prodigies. In fact, among them was Bo Fang Zeng, who got 6.84 seconds in competition at just 5 years old, and Yi Heng Wang, who was averaging sub 8 at just 7 years old. Taking the world by storm, the Chinese cubers were dominating, and the Cuban community expected that. But then came COVID, which halted competitions. All around the world, there were no competitions, and these Chinese cubers were unable to compete in official competitions. So the world forgot about them again. And in fact, eventually competitions were able to happen and started again, but not in China as they were still in lockdown. And these Chinese cubers, because they're in lockdown, they're not able to leave their country to compete. And yeah, so they were forgotten. With competitions back, Max Park and Timon Koleshinsky were constantly fighting for the world record average, which it eventually ended up at a tie with an incredible time of 4.86 seconds. In fact, Guinness World Records even made a video about the rivalry between Max Park and Timon Koleshinsky, which I highly recommend checking out, and I linked it in the description. After a while, protests happened in China forcing the government to open the country up, but competitions were still not happening in China. It's unknown why, but people suspect it's because competition organizers had been organizing competitions in China without permission during the start of the lockdown before they were forced to stop. But what had always happened was that the Chinese government had opened the country's borders, and now these Chinese cubers were able to travel internationally. With that said, came an announcement of a competition, the Singaporean Championships, a 3-day competition that offered all 17 WCA events with many rounds, and Singapore was really relatively close to China. With this said, many Chinese cubers decided to sign up for the competition, ready to travel to Singapore. There would be the world record holder Yu Shendu, as well as Ray Hangshu, Yi Hei Wang, Bo Fang Zheng, and many other fast Chinese cubers. With this said, many cubers didn't really take this as much, until YouTuber Matthew Merrick put together a video talking about these Chinese dormant cubers and how, because they had just been able to compete, there was actually a potential of a 3x3 world record waiting to happen with how insanely fast these cubers are. Although the competition did not end up with any official world record, there were still insane results, with Yiheng Wang breaking the ASR average with an incredible time of 4.91 seconds. Yiheng Wang also got an incredible single of 3.95 seconds. Ray Hangshu got an incredible time of 3.86 seconds. And the finals were really crazy as Ray Hang and Yiheng battled. Yiheng ended up winning with an average of 5.34 seconds, where Ray Hang was only 0.03 seconds slower with an average of 5.37 seconds. In third place was Seung Hyuk Nam from South Korea, who got an average of 6.37, thus making this podium the world's fastest podium ever in any official World Cube Association competition. In the week after, Yi Heng would compete at Super Hanoi Bray Zio 2023, where he would break the world record average with an incredible time of 4.75 seconds, just to get it taken away due to a misscramble on his second scramble. It's insane to see how fast many of these young Chinese cubers are and how far they've gone. But what's actually even more scary is that we may have not seen it all, as many of these young Chinese prodigy cubers have not had the opportunity to compete and show off their skills. In fact, we don't know anything about them. And now I've talked about, how the history of these Chinese prodigy cubers. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how they're able to get so fast at cubing, mainly focusing on cubing academies, which is something that has been growing in popularity in China.